Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, I'll wait for somebody to come in and then I'll start talking. I'll wait for you guys to trickle on in. Trickle down. Trickle down. Come on. Come on in. All right. So, if all of you, I wanted to do a political live because, the current state of politics and everything that's going on in politics is absolutely overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. Like, a lot of people are feeling very uncomfortable under this current administration. A lot of people are not feeling well under this current administration. So I think it's important to, do these check-ins, um, especially when you see things that do not look right, do not seem right. I do feel like it's right to just do these check-ins and point out what we see, because we can point out what we see. Okay. Um, it's very disappointing what we see, right? In this day and age. And you can't tell me that there aren't people that voted for Trump that are looking at the things that he's doing and are embarrassed about it. There has to be. There has to be tons and tons and tons. So if you guys don't know, today Trump and Putin met to talk about a ceasefire with the Ukrainian War. Ukraine and Russia have been fighting for about 3 years now. And Trump said he was going to end this war on day one. Mind you, we're 7 months into the presidency and it's not ended. And from what I gathered, he went there to meet Putin in the United States of America with his tail tucked between his legs. He literally rolled the red carpet. He rolled the red carpet out for this man. Putin is a war criminal. Putin is a dictator. And you roll the red carpet out for him to stroll on. You applaud him as he cascades down to you and you allow him to drive with you in your vehicle, the presidential vehicle. There's something deeply wrong with that. And I posted a TikTok earlier today. I just find it really amusing how the president can bow down to another country's dictator, but he treats his own leaders in his country as if they're less than. He bows down to this guy. He fears this guy. I feel that. I could feel that from what I saw. But let's take a look at the meeting.
And you look at Vladimir Putin emerging from his aircraft just seconds after President Trump has emerged from his.
I don't need to hear all that, CBS. But you guys, you see, they literally had Trump's walking on cement, and they rolled out a red carpet for our adversary. We are on the side of Ukraine. Well, we should be. I don't know whose side anybody's on, but we should be on the side of Ukraine in this war because Russia invaded Ukraine, correct? So he has this royal red carpet set out for Putin. He meets Putin. It's like they're having a damn wedding, actually. It's like they're having a wedding. And Trump waits at the altar for Putin. He's gonna wait. Oh, sorry, advertiser message. Sorry, advertiser message. Ignore all that. Do. Okay, cool. Wait, oh, that was it? Oh. 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 Okay, well let's see what they had to say after the meeting. Because I personally think Trump tucked his tail between his legs. Trump said he was going to end the war on day one. He said he was going to end the war on day one. He said a lot of things that he just didn't do. All he is proving to do is damaging and tormenting the fabric of this country. He is damaging people, their mental health, everything. I feel like a huge injustice to the people. A traitor. He's a traitor. And this shows it, okay? Let's listen. Let's listen to this shit. Trump is scared shitless of Putin. He's scared shitless of Putin because he wants to be Putin. He sees how Putin rules his country, and he wants to do that with America. And he sees that, oh, my people fight back because this is a democracy. How does he get them to respect him like that? How? So look at his face. He's literally obsessed with the power this man holds, and I think it's a little bit of fear as well. Anyway.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect. We have very thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska. It only makes sense that we've met here because our countries, though separated by the oceans, are close neighbors. So when we've met, when I came out of the plane and I've said, "Good afternoon, dear neighbor. Very good to see you. In good health and to see you alive." I think that is very neighborly. And I think that's some kind words that we can say to each other. We're separated by the Strait of Bering, though there are 2 islands only between the Russian island and the US island. They're only 4 kilometers apart. We're close neighbors, and it's a fact. It's also important that Alaska has to do with our common heritage, common history between Russia and the US, and many positive events have to do with that territory. Still, there is tremendous cultural heritage back from the Russian America. For example, Orthodox churches and a lot of more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin. During the Second World War, it was here in Alaska that was the origin of the legendary air bridge for the supply of military aircraft and other equipment under the Lend-Lease program. It was a dangerous and treacherous route.
One thing before I continue this, guys. I had more viewers on my Gypsy Rose Live, but hey, this is something I want to talk about. Welcome in, Brian. Welcome in. If you could hit that like button for me, I'd appreciate it. Why is Putin's English translator a woman? I feel like it should have been a man because it's Putin speaking, but I don't know. Y'all could have coordinated that a little.
Over the vast emptiness of ice. However, the pilots of both countries did everything to bring closer the victory. They risked their lives and they gave it all for the common victory. I was just in the city of Magadan in Russia, and there is a memorial there dedicated to the Russian and the US pilots. And there are 2 flags, the US flag and the Russian flag. And I know that here as well, there is such a memorial. There is a military burial place several kilometers away from here. the Soviet pilots that buried there who died during that dangerous mission. We're thankful to the citizens and the government of the U.S. for carefully taking care of their memory. I think that's very worthy and noble. We'll always remember other historical examples when our countries defeated common enemies together in the spirit of battle camaraderie and allyship that supported each other and facilitated each other. I'm sure that this heritage will help us rebuild and foster mutually beneficial and equal ties at this new stage, even during the hardest conditions. It is known that there have been no summits between Russia and the U.S. for 4 years, and that's a long time. This time was very hard for bilateral relations, and let's be frank, they've fallen to the lowest point since the Cold War. I think that's not benefiting our countries and the world as a whole. It is apparent that sooner or later, we have to amend the situation to move on from the confrontation to dialogue. And in this case, a personal meeting between the heads of state has been long overdue. Naturally, under the condition of serious and painstaking work, and this work has been done in general. Me and President Trump have very good direct contact. We've spoken multiple times. We spoke frankly on the phone. And special envoy of the president, Mr. Witkoff, traveled out to Russia several times. Our advisors and heads of foreign ministries kept in touch all the time. And you know fully well that one of the central issues was the situation around Ukraine. We see the strive of the administration and President Trump personally to help facilitate the resolution of the Ukrainian conflict. And his strive to get to the crux of the matter, to understand its history, is precious. As I've said, the situation in Ukraine has to do with fundamental threats to our security. Moreover, we've always considered the Ukrainian nation, and I've said it multiple times, a brotherly nation, however strange it may sound in these conditions. We have the same roots and everything.
Putin's such a bullshitter. Putin is such a bullshitter. Like, he sits up here and tells us how the United States and Russia have these good ties, or have had these good ties in the past. We've united in the past. And then he goes on to talk about how Ukraine and Russia have like a brotherhood. Then why are you blowing them up? It just makes no sense what he's saying. What he's saying makes no sense. The reason why you're here, Putin, is to tell us if we can reach a ceasefire with the Ukrainian war. You are talking about the whole backstory and history of American versus Russian affairs. That's not what we want to hear. You're giving us nothing. You're giving us absolutely nothing. And you're just gaslighting, if you ask me. You're talking about how good our relationships have been when the current status of things is not so good. You know, you're deflecting, in my opinion. But anyway.
That's happening is a tragedy for us, a terrible wound. Therefore, the country is sincerely interested in putting an end to it. At the same time, we're convinced that in order to make the settlement lasting and long-term, we need to eliminate all the primary roots, the primary causes of that conflict. And we've said it multiple times, to consider all legitimate concerns of Russia and to reinstate a just balance of security in Europe and in the world on the whole. And I agree with President Trump, as he has said today, that naturally the security of Ukraine should be ensured as well. Naturally, we are prepared to work on that. I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings or to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
This is what Ivy League universities you can get
Sorry.
into with a 3.6 GPA.
Okay.
Кстати, с приходом новой администрации
Incidentally,
США
when the new
двусторонний
administration
товарооборот
came to
начал у нас
power,
повышаться.
bilateral trade
Все это
started to grow.
носит пока такой символический характер, но
It's still
все-таки
very
плюс
symbolic.
20%.
Still, we
Я
have
говорю о
a
том, что у нас много
growth of
интересных
20%. As I've
направлений.
said, we have a lot
Look
of
at Trump
dimensions.
smiling.
Очевидно, что российско-американское
It is
деловое
clear
и
US
инвестиционное
and Russian
партнерство имеет
investment
огромный
and business
потенциал. России и США
cooperation has
есть что
tremendous
предложить.
potential.
This is about money for Trump. He does love the aspect that he is a dictator and people bow down to him, including him, but money can be found when the United States and Russia collaborate with each other. And Donald Trump knows this. So because of the war with Ukraine, Donald Trump can't get that money and resources that he so desperately wants from Putin. Right?
Друг другу в
Russia and the
торговле,
US can
энергетике,
offer each
цифровой
other so
сфере,
much in
высоких
trade,
технологиях и
digital,
освоении
high-tech,
космоса.
and in
Актуально
space
видится
exploration.
взаимодействие в Арктике,
We see
возобновление
that Arctic
межрегиональных
cooperation
контактов,
is
в том
also
числе
very
между
possible,
нашим
and
Дальним
our
Востоком и
international
американским
context,
западным
for example,
побережьем.
between the Far East
В
of
общем,
Russia and the west
нашим
coast of the
странам
US.
важно и
Overall,
нужно
it's very important
перелистнуть
for our
страницу
countries to
и
turn the
вернуться к
page, to
сотрудничеству.
go back to
Символично,
cooperation.
что
It is
неподалеку
symbolic
на
that not
границе
far away from
России и
here, the
США, как
border
я уже
between
говорил,
Russia and the
проходит
US,
так
there
называемая
is a
линия
so-called
перемены
international
дат,
date line.
где можно буквально перешагнуть
I think
из
you can step
вчера в
over
завтра.
literally from yesterday into tomorrow.
Надеюсь, что у нас так и
And I
получится
hope that we'll succeed in
в
that
политической сфере.
in
Я
political
хотел бы
sphere.
поблагодарить
I would
господина
like to
Трампа
thank
за
President
совместную
Trump
работу,
for our
за
joint work,
доброжелательный и доверительный
for the
тон бесед.
well-wishing and
Главное, что с
trustworthy
обеих
tone
сторон
of our
был настрой
conversation.
на
It's important
результат.
that both
Мы
sides
видим, что
are
президент США имеет
result-oriented, and we
четкое
see that the
представление о
President of
том,
the US
чего
has a
хочет
very clear
добиться,
idea of
искренне
what he would
заботится о
like to achieve.
процветании своей
He
страны
sincerely
и в то
cares
же
about
время
prosperity of his
проявляет
nation.
понимание наличию в России
Still
своих
understands that
национальных интересов.
Russia has its own
Рассчитывает, что
national
сегодняшние
interests. I
договоренности
expect that
станут
today's
опорной
agreements
точкой
will
не
be
только для
the
решения
starting
украинской
point,
проблемы,
not
но
only
и
for the
положит
solution of
начало
the Ukrainian
восстановлению
issue,
деловых,
but also will help
прагматичных
us bring
отношений
back
между
business-like
Россией
and
и США.
pragmatic
Ну и
relations
в
between Russia
завершение
and the US.
хотел бы вот что
And in the
добавить.
end, I would like to
Я
add
помню,
one more
что
thing.
в
I'd like to
2022
remind you that
году
in
во время
2022,
последних контактов с
during the
прежней
last
администрацией я
contact
тогда
with the previous
пытался
administration,
убедить
I tried to
своего
convince
прежнего
my
американского коллегу в
previous
том, что
American colleague
не нужно доводить до
that the situation should not be
после наступления, которые могут наступить
brought to the
тяжелые
point
последствия в виде
of no
боевых
return
действий.
when it would come
И
to
прямо сказал
hostilities,
тогда,
and I
что
said
это
it quite
большая
directly
ошибка.
back then that it's a big
И
mistake.
вот сегодня мы слышим, когда президент Трамп
Today,
говорит,
when
что если бы
President
я
Trump
был
saying that
президентом, то войны
if he
бы
was
не
the
было.
president back then, there will be
Я
no
думаю,
war.
что так бы
And I'm
на самом деле
quite
и
sure that it would
случилось. Я
indeed be so.
подтверждаю
I
это,
can confirm that.
потому что в целом у
I
нас
think that
с
overall,
президентом Трампом
me and President
наладился
Trump
очень хороший
have built a very
деловой и
good
доверительный
business-like and
контакт.
trustworthy
И
contact.
у меня есть все основания
And I have
полагать, что
every
двигаясь
reason
по
to
этому
believe that
пути, мы
moving
можем
down this path,
дойти и до,
we can come,
чем быстрее, тем лучше,
and the sooner
до
the better,
завершения
to
конфликта
the
в
end
Украине.
of the conflict
Благодарю
in
вас
Ukraine.
за
Thank you.
внимание.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
no one wants to hear that shit. No, seriously. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he rips the earbud out of his ear because it's like, Putin knows English. Putin knows English. Why is he? There's a lot of Putin's smart. There's a lot of dynamics about this meeting that was just really weird. But you know how to speak English. But you literally have us listening to this woman. You're speaking over this woman, and it sounds a hot fucking mess. And then Trump speaks after you, and he's like yanking the earbuds out because that was brutal. You just made a whole bunch of, like, I didn't understand much of what Putin was saying, right? I didn't understand much of what he was saying as far as for how are you going to end the Ukrainian war? He didn't even get anything, like, he didn't even speak on that. He's speaking on America and business relations. How are you going to move out of Ukraine? That's what we wanted to hear. You said nothing. But let's listen to Trump, because I'm pretty sure it could get worse.
Profound. And I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Radcliffe. Thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here. And I think, you know, everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere.
Tremendous Russian business people. That's all it's about for you, is the business and how you can milk their fucking country out of money. Right? That's all it's about for you. You're probably telling them some backroom ass deals are probably going on. If you come on, just pull out of Ukraine, America will do this for you and that for you, and you'll make more money than you've ever made. You know, all that bullshit.
The world in a very short period of time, and we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir.
You've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin of Vladimir. What? That's bowing down to him. Putin's not going to say that about you. Would Putin say that about Trump? No.
We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax that made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all, but we had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team, whose faces, who I know in many cases, otherwise, other than that, whose faces I get to see all the time in the newspapers. You're almost as famous as the boss, but especially this one right over here. But we had some good meetings over the years, right? Good, productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that in the future. But let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Because the way Donald Trump was talking about it, he made it seem like he was going there to get an answer. And he did roll out a red carpet for him. That is insane. But hey. Wow. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. But I just kind of wanted to touch on that. You know, I thought it was really interesting. I was kind of anxious because I was like, what is going to happen at this meeting, you know? But I should have known. It's crazy how the victim in this war, when he met with Trump, it looked totally different. Trump tried to make him look small. Trump tried to bully him, make him look small. J.D. Vance says, you didn't even say thank you. All this, right? And they're the ones that are being attacked. But when you get to meet the aggressor, when you go face to face with the man who's doing all of the evil things, you don't have that same type of energy. He never had that same type of energy. Why is that? Why can everybody else bring Donald Trump out of his element except for Vladimir Putin? Why is that? You guys need to think about things like this. And, you know, it's been proven that Russia's interfered in our elections. Russia's interfered in all kinds of things that we see online to sway our perception of who we want to vote for, all kinds of things. And they're continuously doing it. They're continuously doing it. And he knows about that. Putin knows about that. So for him to come up here, they're both just, I don't know. It was just very disappointing. Trump made it seem like it was going to be this big, huge event where the war was going to get settled, or he was going to really put pressure on Russia to settle it. Nothing like that happened. No war settled, right? The same war that he said he was going to settle in a day. Like, it's just everything that he's been saying has just been falling through the damn cracks. And some things get me angrier than others. I'm not an international politics. I'm not an international politics buff. I deal with more like race politics and U.S. politics and civil rights politics or things like that. But look at the way he talked to Zelensky and look at the way he talked to Putin. There's a reason for that. And it's not because the United States gave them money. Okay. Another thing that's like really upsetting is the fact that DC, well, maybe I should just, there are federal agents and National Guard troops patrolling DC. Why? I have no earthly idea. Trump says he's cracking down on crime. Mind you, nothing happened. There was no huge crisis. There was no hurricane. There was nothing that happened. He just wants this huge show of force.
Hello.
He wants to
Adam Ferrari.
Sorry. He wants to agitate the people. Simple as that. He wants to agitate them. If you get agitators, just like there was a man who threw a Subway sandwich at one of them and he got arrested. He feels like if he puts these cops out there, if he puts this military out there, that will agitate people to the point where he can use whatever force necessary. But they're not necessary. And I asked the question, why DC? Why DC? Out of all of the places in the United States, why DC? Because you could. I feel like if he could do this in every inner city, he would. Right? If he could do it in every inner city, he would. And it's just, People shouldn't be afraid to go to school with all this ICE kidnappings going on. Children shouldn't be afraid to go to school. And people should be able to walk down the street in their own neighborhood without being harassed by police. And what is the National Guard there for? The thing about it is, when he says, he wants to combat homelessness, and he says he wants to combat crime, you're combating it with your own fucking military? You're combating, he even told us on the campaign trail, he's looking for the enemies from within. And who is that? People that he doesn't like, people that don't agree with him, people that don't share the same viewpoints as he does, right? Now you got these masked agents out here doing your dirty work, targeting minorities over any other, just targeting minorities. First, it was the Latinos. It still is the Latinos. The Latinos are still fighting in Los Angeles for their rights. They're still protesting daily for their rights. And now, for some reason, we need to shift attention to Washington, D.C. and start mass arresting people, even people that came here to express their dissent for what we were doing, right? You didn't talk to the mayor about it. Here she is. You didn't talk to her about it. You just completely brought the troops out. But who did you bring the troops out for? Your own goddamn citizens. You brought the troops out to combat your own goddamn citizens. DC has a police force, but you wouldn't bring the troops out to combat Vladimir Putin. You wouldn't bring the troops out to combat Vladimir Putin, but you'll bring the troops out to combat your own fucking citizens. You bring the masked men of ICE out to combat legal Americans who are Latino in this country. Just because they look a certain way, ICE agents have been detaining them and pulling them over. You pull and call the National Guard and your military on those people, but you bow down to Vladimir Putin, which has been one of the U.S.'s biggest adversaries since who knows when. What do you need to be protected from? And this lady here, Pam Bondi, she is a disgrace. She's a national disgrace, guys. They're looking to rile people up. Will he do this in more cities? If he could, he would. If he could have a military in every inner city like this, with the DEA agents and all that, but they don't have enough resources for all that. But if he could, he would. He would militarize the country. Who are you militarizing the country against? Black and brown people. I'm sorry. Black and brown people. Make America great again. Make America great again, right? It's actually very upsetting. I've kind of calmed down about it. But the things that he does are so unprecedented. The things that he does are so wild. The things that he does are so grossly offensive. So it's like every action he tries to top, every fucked up thing that happens, he tries to top it with another more fucked up thing. And it's like, when does it stop? These people in DC don't
and lie
These people in DC don't want troops roaming through their neighborhood. That's scary. These people swore to protect, took an oath to the Constitution. These people took an oath. I don't understand what's wrong with it. What's wrong? You took an oath to the Constitution, and your current commander-in-chief is doing everything against that document. You took an oath to the Constitution, and your commander-in-chief is slashing that document in half. Yet, you follow behind like a good little boy or a good little gal and say, oh, I'm just following orders. You made an oath to the Constitution of the United States. Maybe you should read it. And maybe you should say, is my commander-in-chief telling me to do things that are outside of my oath? I wouldn't want to be involved in anything like this. And I'm sure there are troops that are against this. And I'm sure there are troops that are excited about it. But the ones, they're probably all for to do it, no matter how they feel about it. Right? Sorry, I don't see you guys' comments. I don't think it's really, like, I'm sorry, I'm just ranting, but like, if I could tell you guys what I learned basically today, is that Trump is not going to put pressure on Vladimir Putin in this war. He said that he would put sanctions on them if they didn't end it. He's not going to do that. He completely cowers in the face of Vladimir Putin. Sorry to say it, but that's what it is. I'm so tired, y'all. I've been up since early. I went to work, and now I'm here talking to you guys. About to fall asleep. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I love talking about politics. I actually love it. I do it on my TikTok and Instagram. I studied it in school. I actually do love it. And when I have a little bit more energy, I'm probably going to be able to express how I want to express a little bit better. But you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say. You know, it's ridiculous. You send in the military. I think the biggest bar that I had, you send in the military, the troops, on your own fucking citizens, right? But you roll out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. That something's wrong with that picture. And you want to call others out for treason, and you want to call others out for being a traitor. It's hard for me to believe that you are America First, Donald Trump. You are my vision of America First. Okay? There's a difference between America First and my vision of America First. Because if you were truly America First, you would not be enacting the policies that you do. And you would not be hurting the majority of Americans that rely on certain policies. How can you make America great when you're hurting over half of the population? America is America. That means you're Latino Americans. That means you're Black Americans. That means you're Indian Americans. That means you're Asian Americans. That means you're white Americans. That means everyone. You are the president of everybody. The Democrats, the Republicans, the L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, and the Q's. You are president of all of us. So when you say make America great again, it has to envelop the entirety of the country, not just your vision for what you want the country to be. But that was my rant. It felt good to get it off my chest. I'm probably gonna go take a bath and go to sleep. I'm so tired. I've been up, y'all. And I went to work, came here, read some pages for y'all. I actually want to tell you guys, if you guys are still in here, about a video that I'm editing. It's probably not going to be out tonight, but I'll work for it tomorrow. It's talking about Diddy and Trump. Do you think Trump will pardon Diddy? I'll see how it does. If it does well, you never know. We might include some more videos like that. But guys, I'm literally very, very tired. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye now. Shauna, you just came in? Oh, I'm about to get off. I'm tired. This is my political live. I did a live with Gypsy stuff. Go look in the playlist. I did a quick political live about the events of today. Okay. All right, y'all. My eyes are literally falling closed, so I'm going to go ahead and go. I will see you guys next week. No, I'll probably see you guys tomorrow in the video. The video looks good. I really do like the video, but I need to finish editing it. And I could probably crank that out tomorrow for you guys. I usually don't do videos on Saturday, but I'm going to just crank it. I'm going to crank that shit out for y'all. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great night. Bye. You got 2 live streams tonight.